wanted the three of you to prevent the apocalypse.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2023 M. Night Shyamalan film, Knock at the Cabin. The film obviously is directed by M. Night Shyamalan. It stars Dave Bautista, Jonathan Groff, Ben Aldridge, Nikki Amuka Bird, Rupert Grint, Abby Quinn and Christine Q. Now, those of you who are watching this review have probably heard about this film. Essentially, this film focuses on a same-sex couple, Eric and Andrew, who have a young daughter called Wen. They are taking a vacation at a cabin out in the woods somewhere, a beautiful vacation, relaxing as a family. And they are visited by 4 strangers, who then proceed to knock on the cabin, break in, and give them an ulterior motive. Essentially, this ulterior motive is one of them has to sacrifice one of the others willingly, or the apocalypse is going to take place. The film then progresses from that moment on with that premise. Right, what are my thoughts on Knock at the Cabin? Well, I mean, the first thing I want to say here is I'm a big fan of M. Night Shyamalan's. I've pretty much enjoyed everything he's done. Yes, he's made a few wrong turns over the years, you know, with The Happening and other things like that. But he seems to be now on the road back to be giving us his best. Ever since Split, really, you know, he's really delivered for the most part on the films that he's been giving us. I didn't dislike his last film, Old, but I thought it was, a little bit of a step down, but it was certainly watchable and an interesting premise. But this one, as soon as I saw the trailer for this film, I was immediately interested. The premise itself almost sounds like it's been written for M. Night Shyamalan. Now, his films, I'm right in thinking, anyway, that generally speaking, he writes a lot of his own stuff. And this one, this time, isn't. It's based on a book by Paul Tremblay, The Cabin at the End of the World, even though he obviously did the screenplay for it and stuff, M. Night. So it's somebody else's premise and idea that he's kind of grasped and run with here. And I have to say, guys, I just think this film is incredibly gripping. Brilliantly performed, masterfully directed, beautifully shot, and kept me thrilled and on the edge of my seat absolutely throughout. I think the only minor disappointment I come away with is you don't get the usual M. Night twist. Well, you don't. I mean, normally he's renowned for having some kind of twist at the end of his films, and you kind of waiting there, bated breath for it. And I hadn't watched an awful lot of reviews going into this film because I didn't want anything spoiling. Not that many reviewers do. So I didn't know if there was going to be a twist or anything like that. And there's very little to speak of in that area. But that doesn't make it any less of a film. It's just, I think, such a fantastic premise. With some really brilliant performances. Now, Dave Bautista, think of him what you will. He's an ex-wrestler. People think, ex-wrestlers, they can't act. I mean, Dwayne Johnson has proven that he's broken through and he's got his own genre. You know, he's got his own thing that he does in Hollywood. He's got great charisma, great personality. You can debate all day long about his acting ability. Well, Dave Bautista has gone down a little bit of a different path. He's done his blockbusters, he's done his Guardians of the Galaxy, things like that. But he's also has done and is doing some very, very interesting projects. The Glass Onion he's done. He's done loads. When you actually look, Blade Runner 2049, he has done a lot of stuff that has kind of taken him out of his comfort zone because he's more interested in the acting side of things and being an actor rather than being seen as like a big muscly guy who's gotten into acting. And for me, Dave Bautista, this is his finest on-screen performance. I mean, it's just brilliant to play this character and to do it in such a way that he's so likable, is this Leonard that he's playing, but he's giving you this impossible choice. And he just does it, I think, in just such a wonderful way, and easily the best performance of his career. But everybody else here is magnificent too. The two fathers, Jonathan Groff, Ben Aldridge, are excellent. You really do feel that they are a couple, and you know what I mean. They'll fight for their love and their family. And I want to give a special mention to Christine Q, who plays Wen, the young daughter that they have. What a wonderful performance from a very talented young actress who is no doubt going to do very, very well. It's a real standout performance here. I mean, she's got to act in some pretty intense scenes, I would suggest, and she does it effortlessly. So my hat's off to her. Really, really fine performance. And yeah, this had me absolutely gripped from really the first moment to the way it ended. And like I say, the minor gripe that I gave it didn't spoil the film. It just at times didn't feel like an M. Night film. At times it felt like it was his film completely, it had his stamp all over it, and then at other times it felt a little bit fresh and a little bit different. And I just thought it was wonderful. I mean, the premise it gives you, it's one of those films where you could just sit and debate, you know, with your partner, what would you do in this scenario? And it just blew me away, the premise. I just thought it was just perfect for a film, a perfect project for M. Night Shyamalan, and definitely for me a film that kept me gripped throughout its runtime. I don't expect that everyone is going to watch this film and go away thinking, wow, that's fabulous. I think there may be some that will come away thinking, well, that was a bit slow paced and ultimately a tad predictable, you could argue. But for me, a film is only predictable if you can maybe figure out what's going to happen at the end and then figure out how they're going to get there. And for me, yeah, you do kind of figure out the end, but you no idea how they're going to get from point A to point B. And for me, that just kept me interested throughout the runtime of this film. So I have to be honest, I really, really enjoyed this. I could imagine some out there maybe fairly lukewarm on this one, but I think this is, you know, pretty high on his filmography, M. Night. I'm not saying it's as good as Unbreakable and Signs and all that kind of stuff, but I think it's in the discussion, certainly, to get close to the top 5, in my opinion. I really, really enjoyed this one. And if you're a fan of his films, and if you think the premise sounds cool and interesting, I urge you to give this film a try. So thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review. I'll be back with more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.